Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Clint Crowe Real Estate Show. Thrilled to be with you once again, and even more thrilled today to have my friend Thomas Williams with me from American Renovations.
Yep.
Thomas, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I am doing good. We are in the building here that you helped us make livable.
We had a lot of fun in.
Yeah. I don't know if I was having fun in it or not, but yeah. So first topic, we've spent a lot of time in this building, you and I. And honestly, it wasn't as long as what I thought it could have been.
Yeah.
I always want things to go faster than they do.
Right.
And we got a little later start, but that's just because of the process. The work itself didn't take that long, even though we had a little bit extra to do. But we'll talk a little bit about, I guess, the process starting out. We bought this place last August, so it's been almost a year next month. The previous owners, the church that was here, stayed in here for a while, so that kind of really put us behind a little bit. I know the first thing we did when we came in here and looked, I was kind of amazed. Y'all had a system that you were able to kind of scan the whole building. Tell us about that.
Yeah, we actually take a Matterport camera and come in, and it takes however many points of interest that you need to be able to scan the whole entire area, and then allows me to take it and overlay and create a 2D layout of existing conditions. And then we're able to take that and transition into proposed conditions so we can actually have a plan. And so there is a little bit of time that we take in the pre-planning stages of things to try to make sure that we don't get into too many unknowns. Right. There are some unforeseen conditions that you're going to encounter because technology can only do so much till we get X-ray cameras and vision in here that we're able to see behind, under the floors and behind the walls and all that good stuff.
I was pretty impressed with that process. And of course, I was familiar with Matterport cameras from our real estate business as far as taking and kind of creating a virtual walkthrough for people to be able to use. But I'd never really thought about or seen them used in the construction or renovation.
Yep.
It was a really good way to be able to get a 2D drawing to scale. Rather, because I was thinking, I was in here one day trying to take with a measuring tape and measure. And it's a big building. So, you can only measure so much at a time with a measuring tape. And trying to measure and figure out how big the walls were just to sketch out some things. And I was like, man, this is
Casey called me one night, and I think we might have been at church, and she's like, I need help being able to show Clint what this will look like. And I'm like, well, we got the perfect way of doing that. So we're able to scan it and show what it looks like now and then convert it over to what the future. And we made some changes. I mean, it wasn't, first drawing was not exactly right. And we made some changes. And then still, even in mid-process, once you get the walls up in the conference room, that thing looked ginormous in comparison to what it looked like on paper.
Yeah.
But we stuck with what size we originally had decided on, and the conference room I think is amazing.
It's incredible. Yeah, it turned out, and even the table that's in there is a little bit smaller. That's the table my dad built that we had at the other location, and probably could put a little bit of a bigger table in there, and we may one day. It's working for now, but yeah, that process, I know when I told Casey, I said, well, look, we can take in this here, we can just pop up a couple of walls here and be done. And I'm notorious for trying to make something work with as little change as possible. And trying to take what's already there and just work with what we've got instead of kind of scrapping and starting all over. I like to be frugal, and use what we got. But that's not what we ended up doing. And I'm very glad that we didn't. But it did help me to be able to see what we could do, because those first plans that came back, when we first looked at them, when you had the old walls with the new walls showing an overlay of here's what's here now, when we put these in. That was really impressive to me. I think that really helped me understand how the space was going to change.
Right. Give you a visualize based on what's there and how we're going to move the walls.
Yeah, because I don't know, maybe it's because I'm a guy, but I'm not great at visualization. Once I see it, I can appreciate it. But trying to stand there and imagine what it was going to look like, and Casey and Beth and Kathy and a lot of the folks could already kind of see what it could be. I needed to see it on paper to be able to do that. So we ended up taking down pretty much every interior wall.
And then we started ripping up floors.
Just the wall part. When I walked in, because I was in session when we kind of got started with the demo, and I came back from Atlanta one Friday afternoon, I think, on my way home, and I said, I'm going to swing by and take a look. And I walked in, and when I walked in the front door, I could see all the way to the far back corner across the building.
Couldn't do that before.
And I said, wow, this is, the whole thing is wide open. And with the wooden floors, it kind of reminded me of an old roller rink. That,
it definitely did.
We talked about maybe getting some skates, and then I realized that was probably not a great idea to do that. The cool thing about the building was the way it was constructed with the posts and pillars and things is we were able to take down all the interior walls and basically have a fresh canvas to build back on, which made it easier to configure it like we wanted to and then maximize the space.
Right.
Yeah, you mentioned some of the floors we took up. This is an old building. Even trying to find wood to fit, they don't make boards this size anymore. So we had to take some LVLs and rip those down to make ceiling and floor joists where we needed to straighten some of those out and put some of those in.
Different size decking in the floor and different size joists than what today's construction uses, and had to engineer some things to make it be right again. But you don't have to worry about somebody stepping through the floor now.
I do not. No, and that the next time I came back over where the doors going down the stairs, there was a big hole. I think we got some pictures that was put on social media.
I think we were talking about putting a jacuzzi in there at one point.
Possibly, big jacuzzi. It looked like a good place for one.
Pretty good spot.
It made it tough to get down here to the lower part of the building, but
go around front.
Go around outside. Yeah. We got doors down here. That's what they're here for.
Yep.
I'll tell you what I was really impressed with was the level of construction that they built this place with. I mean, there's footer walls in there along every one of those beams that supports everything. There's not just a footer, there's a whole brick wall that runs the length of the building down through there. Which created some challenges when we went to do a new treatment on it for pest control. But it's solid. And we put those floors down, and I'll tell you, your guys were able to reuse a lot of the old original wood floors and just interspace some new tongue and groove flooring in with it. And it really turned out, it really added to the character of it. But I was thrilled that they were able to save so much of that wood, because there's not one other part where we had to tear up the floor back in the back corner office back there, Megan's office. That floor, we ended up having to just put all new flooring in, but it still looks kind of older and natural. But the part up here where we put in some pieces to fill in where we didn't have some of the older floor, I've noticed even now in just the last few months, it's already started to the color started to darken a little bit, mix in with the other wood, and it's really not near as noticeable now. And it is very solid.
And it was not before. I was kind of shying away from walking in some of those areas. You talked about the construction of the building, and then you're talking about the termite treatment and making it. Honestly, I think that if the termite treatment had been handled properly from the beginning, you probably wouldn't have had near the repairs that had to, because the construction of the building was solid. Those footers are pretty impressive up under there.
We like to say in Georgia, in the real estate business, there's two kind of houses in Georgia: those that have had termites and those that are going to have termites.
Right.
And they had a long time to eat on some of that stuff down there, but it's solid now. And like I said, overall, that's the way the building was constructed. Making those changes and making those improvements was not near as cumbersome as it would have been in a building that maybe was built the way things are today.
Right.
It turned out great. We got a little bit over what we had initially expected, but not a ton. And it's only really because of what we went in and found. But it was better to do that while we were doing it than to try to come back later and make a lot of those repairs. So I know that it's now all American Renovations. Tell us a little bit about your companies, what they are, and how they got to where they are.
So kind of just a brief history of what our company started as. We actually started as All American Gutter Works back in 2001. I graduated high school in May of 2001, and then by October, I was actually selling real estate at the same time as well. I got my real estate license at 18, and then my brother Pete called me up one night and asked, did I want to start a gutter business? And my main question was, can we make money at it? And being pretty young and dumb and not knowing how to build a business, just scrappy and fighting tooth and nail to get through it. And Eventually, probably about 2005, 2006, we started having builders that were wanting us to install siding and roofing for them as well. And got to the point where it just didn't make sense to continue on as All American Gutter Works. Oh, by the way, we do siding and roofing as well. So we rebranded All American Exteriors. About 2013 or 14, we came across a couple of lots in River Forest back after the crash had happened, and $80 lots that were now $8,000 lots. And so we bought a couple of lots and said, I don't know what we're going to do with these. We may build on them one day. And so eventually we started building as American Craftsman Homes. I think about 2014, 3 or 4 years goes by, and a lot of our customers that would look at our homes but necessarily weren't ready to build a house or buy a house. They loved where they were at. They had their own family compound or whatever. They're like, well, I want my house to be updated. I can't find anybody who will work on the inside of their home. And we hear that quite often because it's far more difficult to work on the inside of someone's home than it is the outside of their home.
Right.
We're causing a little bit of chaos. We like to say that you got to break a few eggs before you make an omelet. Yeah. And we make a little bit of a mess, and people don't like to necessarily deal with that as a contractor. And so we had a few customers that asked us to start looking at renovating the inside of their home, and so we did. And over time, we began to evaluate the name again. It's like, well, we're now All American Exteriors, and oh, by the way, we do interior work as well. And so that didn't seem to go over too well, and so we decided to rebrand as All American Renovations. And I guess we've been that for now 3 or 4 years or more. But yeah, so it's American Craftsman Homes, where we build from the ground up. Most of our homes are in River Forest or Riata in Forsyth. And then we are All American Renovations, interior, exterior, full service. Try to be a concierge type experience where we're going to handle everything turnkey for everyone.
But yeah, you talk about kind of the concierge service, and the thing that I think really impressed me most about what y'all do is the flexibility and the range of abilities that y'all have. You're dealing with your old building built in 1886 or whatever that, 24 and 14, 128 years, 38 years. That's an old building. And we're able to we put a new roof on, the big part of it, and pull up old floors and save those to do that, so it's a historic building you were able to do, but you're able to do newer homes too. I know for a mutual acquaintance that we know through a organization that we'll talk about in a little bit, after the storms came through in January of last year, you did a lot of work on his renovating that. So new homes, old homes, commercial buildings, but I think a lot of what you do is rental or residential.
Correct.
Right. For us, that's a plus, because I know as an agent, it's hard to find somebody to do the inside of a home. Where I say that it's hard to envision things, a lot of our clients have that problem too.
Right.
They say, oh, well, this house would be great if this, but I can't do that because it would be too hard, or it would cost too much, or it would be just short of impossible to try to get this done. And that's not the case a lot of times. I think you and I talked about this a little bit off camera. You can take a look at some pictures and answer some questions for folks and kind of ballpark things for them.
Yeah. We've been doing this 20-something years now, and so we've seen a lot of houses and seen a lot of trends and seen, so as long as we have an idea of what we're working with and an idea of where we want to go. So, Pinterest is really good about that, and different websites out there for idea boards. And I even have customers that have seen our homes in River Forest or Riata, and they say, I want 110 birch, or I want the flooring in 114 birch, or whatever it is that they've looked at recently, and they're like, I want this. And if we can take it and mold it to this location, then about how much is that going to cost? And so we can give them an idea of a range, and it's all specific to what we do, what we don't do, exacts. I mean, like I was telling you earlier, you can buy a kitchen package of cabinets that are bottom of the barrel that we probably wouldn't want to install for you at $5,000, but then you can also go and spend $50,000 on cabinets depending upon colors and accessories and all of that kind of stuff. So you got to kind of figure out exactly which direction you're heading, but at least getting an idea, because customers just don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I talk to people all the time, and I was telling somebody earlier today about, an ADU. We have quite a bit of inquiries where people are wanting to build an ADU on their property because they're seeing the Airbnb value that they can put a property. Owning typically allows for something around 900 square feet or less, but they don't have a clue as to what this is going to cost. They look at a place at Home Depot, one of them things that they can roll on site, and it's what, $15,000 or whatever, and that's just not what construction costs.
For those who aren't familiar with the acronym, ADU is
additional dwelling unit.
I knew that's what it was, but I wasn't sure. So there are a lot of people wanting to do that now.
A lot,
and rent them out like as an Airbnb.
They are, yeah. Or it'll be, I want to add this in as a carriage house or a pool house or whatever, because they don't want to trek all the water in. They want to have a bathroom and a place to hang out by the pool. But for the most part, a lot of people, the inquiries I'm getting, I met with a lady earlier in the week at Stone Mountain, and her whole goal of everything she was talking to me about, she wants to add on to the house. She wants to build a 2-story apartment almost, like ADU, detached garage type thing, but it be a lower level bedroom, bathroom, kitchen or kitchenette, and then have the same thing upstairs, because she wants to generate the income. You got to come to reality that you're looking at spending $75,000 to $150,000 on something like this.
We've talked about moving a few times and thought about it over the years and never have. I've lived on, I always thought I'd stay there as long as my parents were there, and then now, they've passed. My sister's still there, so.
Yeah.
But just the thought of building another house and trying to go through that process, I don't know that my wife and I would survive, and my money's not on me.
Yeah.
So we haven't done that. But, we have done some stuff around the house. We did some things downstairs, and costs have gone up so much. I mean, what I thought it would cost, what I even had quotes to do years ago, costs a lot more now. Material costs, I guess, have really driven up. I guess that surprises a lot of people when you give them quotes.
It does. And that's why we try to have that ballpark conversation, so that we can at least make sure that we're in the right range. Sometimes I tell people that sometimes I'm not in the right ballpark, and I'm not even in the right state.
Yeah.
Because what people have looked at 5, 10, 20 years ago is just completely off the table. Since COVID, it's just really changed everything. Materials gone up quite a bit. Labor, the demand for the labor caused us to see a significant spike in labor costs there. We're starting to see it come back down. The industry is definitely slower than it was 12, 18 months ago. And so we're starting to have guys that are a little more hungry and starting to be a little more aggressive and wanting to make sure that they're getting the job instead of, one of the other crews getting the job. So they're trying to, which is helping. That's helping us. It's helping the customers. All relative to what it cost us is how much it costs our customers.
Yeah, that's prices that just from materials doing that kind of stuff. Because I had thought about even doing a pool house in the backyard, something, because of where ours is and the way the highway runs. It's not as private as I'd like for it to be. And I thought, well, I could put a little pool house back here and have something for the kids when they're wet and go in and use a bathroom, and maybe have part of it for storage, like a little rod, since my basement now has my law in it, and I don't have anywhere to store stuff anymore. So, but I think I want the labor and prices to come back down a little bit more.
Yeah.
It is hard having those conversations. I mean, we've had it with people who, are looking, and we've still got buyers who are looking, and prices have started to come back down some, but they haven't, with rates going up, that really lowered buyers' buying power. What they could afford in a house before and qualify for 2-3 years ago. Yeah. Now it's not the same with rates going up. I mean, maybe $1,500, $1,800 a month more. Yeah. And that lowers their price of $100,000 sometimes. I mean, that makes it tough because prices haven't come down like that. So, it'll take a little while, but I think things will eventually move back together. We'll find an equilibrium at some point, but I just don't know how much prices are going to come down because there's no inventory. I know y'all have some inventory and some things that y'all are still, a few that you still got down in River Forest and stuff, but there's not lots anywhere. I mean, that's there's not new houses being built in a lot of places. Are y'all starting to see any lots come up? Anybody developing any lots anywhere?
Not much. It's pretty slim pickings, and we're just kind of a point that the price point that we're at with the specs that we have there is, the sales slowed down because of people not being able to qualify for as much. But the trouble is that the cost that we have in those homes are based off of lumber prices from 22 and 23 because they've been there for a little bit. And so the cost is still the cost. And when you even, cut things down to bare bones, it's still just kind of crazy. So I just don't see the pricing coming down that much. Not on new construction.
Yeah, I hope we eventually have some more new construction. I worry about the amount of lots that are out there. And that's, people ask me all the time, they're like, oh, are you worried about rates going up? Are you worried about, prices or what have you? And not so much. I've been through all that.
Yeah.
I've been through different markets and different trends and ups and downs and all arounds. And, we always find a way through that.
Right.
It all, it ebbs and flows, but it eventually finds an equilibrium, like I said, and we'll have people buying houses. My biggest concern is the lack of inventory. As more people move in, without new homes being built, you don't have somebody who can sell their home and move up or buy a new home. There's just not new inventory. We've got new people coming in and no new houses being built.
Yep.
We are at a crisis level, because I don't want to sound too hyperbolic, but
yeah. And
I tell a lot of my friends in the legislature and other places, local governments as well, about this inventory shortage, and they just people don't seem to be getting it. And there's a lot of places now too is the metro has expanded. People they don't want to see their fields turn into houses, and I get that.
Yeah,
I really do. But you got new people moving in. We've got jobs locating here, and we're experiencing growth. And the problem is when you have a great place to live and you've got things going on in the state of Georgia, a lot of other people want to come here and experience that as well.
It can't always be not in my backyard.
You can't always be not in my backyard. That's exactly right. I tell a lot of people now, they talk about prices increasing, and they blame it on a lot of things. They blame it on build-to-rent neighborhoods and different things like that. I think that's just a symptom of the actual problem.
Right.
Is that, there's no apartments, there's no rental places, there's no units, there's nowhere for people to live. These folks saw an opportunity, to have inventory, and there was a need for it.
Yeah.
But I think that overall, the problem with people, the prices going up on their houses is just supply and demand. Simple economics. You have a lot of demand and a low supply, prices go up. When all the prices go up, the price on your house goes up.
100%.
And your taxes tend to go up because you don't have full rollback of millage rates and that sort of thing. So not going to get into too big of a discussion about tax policy today, though we could, and we have some.
Yeah.
There's a House Bill 581, though. There'll be a referendum on your ballot in November. We'll talk more about that in another episode that I want to make sure that everybody's aware of. I don't get too deep into the political side of things on here, because that's not what we're here to talk about. But the correlation between the two, there's some things with ad valorem tax policy within this referendum that really provides, I think it'll provide some relief for homeowners and an opportunity for local governments to have alternative ways to generate income that they need, and can kind of take it off the back of homeowners. So
that's great.
I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
Lastly, before we finish up, I always like to talk about our guests do more than just their business. When the agents are here, we're talking about their real estate business or different things that they've seen, and that's important. I want folks that watch this to see and find out about their business. Obviously, I'm very for you and your group that came in and did what they did here. We love this place. The agents love it. We can't have been anywhere else now, and so really appreciate y'all, the work that you did getting it livable for us,
to be a part,
so to speak. But I like to highlight other things too, because I don't want people to think it's just all business all the time, and get to know the folks that we talk to as well. You stay pretty busy outside of work too. You've got a few children running around in various ages, and you also do some philanthropic work with the organization that you and I served together on. So
Yeah.
talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I've got 4 boys. Caden is 18, just graduated from Rock Springs Christian Academy. And next in line is Jack, he'll be 11 in October, and is 8. And Bo is 5, and all of them are enrolled at Rock Springs. And Jack is actually the one that got us started over there. We lived in Jackson for a long time, and just wasn't just thrilled with the public school system over there. And I pulled Caden out. I think going into 4th grade, put him in homeschool with one of the online Liberty University, actually online, and we didn't even realize how miserable he was. Because he's a very social butterfly, very social kid that loves to be around and have conversations with people and interact, and he just did not do incredibly well with Liberty. And we toyed around when it come time for Jack to start kindergarten, what we were going to do. Did we want to put him in public school? I didn't want to do that again. Tiffany did not want to go the homeschool route. She wanted him to get his kindergarten basics, and just not necessarily being taught through her. And so we explored Rock Springs, and we kind of felt like we took faith to put Jack there. And he had been there for about a year or so and had started volunteering with the auction. That was something that just kind of jumped out at my heart the first year we were there, that somebody said, we need some help with the auction. I was like, oh, what's the auction? And I hear that all the time now. Everybody goes, oh, what's the auction? And it's like, it's the biggest fundraiser the school has.
Right.
And so I was in that boat back then. I was like, oh, what's the auction? And I'm like, I think I can help with that. And wound up leading it over time, and the more I got involved, I kind of got volunteered to be on the board, and got to know you a lot more through that, and several other guys and gals in the community. And so that's big. My wife, a whole family, we're all invested in trying to help make sure the auction is a successful event each year, and we'll start planning again here soon. We've got a meeting coming up in the fall to start trying to get ahead of things a little bit better, and start collecting items from the community to be able to auction off. And all of that is items that get donated. We do have a few things that we're able to acquire through the sponsorships, like companies like yourself and myself will sponsor the auction, and there's several other people in the community that help us out and give us some money to be able to utilize, and we take that and go buy guns, and a lot of the times we even have parents who will just donate the guns, so we're able to auction off some really nice items. Sometimes we'll have 4-wheelers, lawnmowers, trailers, and all of that is utilized through that sponsorship money that we collect. And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
At the end of it, we're pretty exhausted.
When I ran for office and I got elected to the state house, I said, I'm giving up everything else. All of my other boards and stuff that I was on and different things I was doing. Stayed on one board for about a year to finish out my term there. And I was like, but I got to cut back some on some things.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I would not cut back on, the one thing that I didn't want to give up was serving on the school board at Rock Springs. My kids are there, our youngest two. Holland's going to be 11 this year. They're going into the 5th grade now, which amazes me.
Yep.
Caden just graduated, which I don't know if any of y'all have ever seen it, but if you go on their social media anywhere or Rock Springs, watch the choral performance, and if you can find a video of them and Caden singing, I was blown away. I had no idea. I mean, he'd always been, he's the nicest, most respectful kid. But he sings, man. I was like, I got chills. I was like, this is incredible. It, and that's the great thing about the school is there's so many things that are allowing the kids to find their talents.
Right.
And grow their talents, in a lot of different ways, with sports or arts or whatever it is. And I really appreciate the work that you and Tiffany as well, and Casey, Casey serves on the auction committee as well. And it is a huge job, but it's really important. So for those of you watching, if you want to get involved in the auction, you can come and support it we'll get you the date. Do we have a date for next year?
We do. It's in March, and I will have to check my calendar on that and see.
March. We'll get it by the time this airs. We'll have it, and we'll get it put up on the bottom of the screen down here.
I think we're moving back to the last Saturday in March again. We had tried to stick to that for a while, and interfered with Easter this 2024 year.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure we've decided to move it back to the last Saturday in March.
But I mean, it's a big deal for those of you that have never been. I mean, you come out there and there's great items that you can bid on. A silent auction. There's a live auction, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah,
that's really a lot of fun. A lot of really cool things. You talk about some of the guns and cars and stuff. I mean, the guns, not just any guns. I mean, these are really nice, high end rifles and different things that are collector's items. Really, yep. I mean, a lot of them are just collector's items. I've got an autographed helmet in my office up there that I got caught the fever in the live auction one year, and now I have that Georgia helmet sitting there signed by Brock Bowers. But when he wins his first Super Bowl, I think the value will go up.
Absolutely.
The effort that goes into it is incredible. But what it does for the school is incredible. What did we raise at the auction last year, ballpark?
I was trying to think. I know we did about $250 the year before, and I want to say that last year it was around this season of auction. I think was right around $210. But over the last three years or so, I mean, we've raised close to $650,000.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Through the auction,
and all of that goes directly to the school, to the kids for programs to buy materials. It goes into the budget that we work on, and it's available for things. It's allowed. We've been able to use that to help support the new building that we had to get out there. Buses some buses that we got for the kids and stuff.
The playground, I think, was part of that.
Yeah, the playground. Yeah, I mean there's so many things out there, and the parents that I talk to a lot, it's funny. We had a discussion, and I keep with the legislature. I don't know why, but this came up, and we had a bill this season talking about school choice and some different things, and not going to delve into the politics side of it. But one of the comments that was made by somebody is said, "Hey, the amount that you're going to allow for these vouchers, the grants, the limited grants and things that would be available to parents for their kids, well, it's only this much.
Yeah.
And there's no private school around, that a parent can get their child into for that much."
That's right. Yep.
Excuse me.
Yep.
Because Rock Springs Christian Academy is, it's a huge blessing from the church.
Yes.
Which is scholarships, all the kids. But, we are able and work really hard. I know the discussion is always trying to make sure we provide a good learning environment and all the things that the kids, want and expect, and that the parents want and expect. But at the same time, keep it affordable.
Yep.
I'm paying for four of them to go there between Kaysen and Holland and the two grandbabies. And so, it's you can't do that just everywhere. We want it to be a place where people are able to get that education for their child, but it's affordable for them to be able to do. And the auction's a huge part of us being able to do that. So,
and that's kind of going back to that conversation I was having earlier with taking the leap of faith with Jack. Is our goal was that we didn't want to sign up for 1 year. I mean, we are in the real estate construction industry,
right,
where our income can fluctuate quite a bit, and so we wanted to make sure that if we're going to start this, we want to be able to finish it. We wanted our kids to be able to go from when they started to being able to graduate like Caden did, and at some point, I think I got distracted earlier. Realized when I got on the board, I went to graduation, and me and Tiffany walked away almost in tears, going, "Caden has got to be a part of this." Yeah. And I'm so thankful that we did, because he just blossomed. He just bloomed, and it was such a pleasure to see him in high school, and you're talking about him singing, and he caught us completely off guard. Like, we had no idea what that was all about. He kept saying, he'd say, "I'm going out with the bad guys," and he did. We were so proud of him, and so thankful for the school and the opportunity for the fine arts program, the drama program that he was a part of, and just so thankful that with the whole auction thing, that was just kind of my thing. Is like, I can't I can't give $10,000 every, time. I can't give, $20,000 like some people can, but I can put my time and effort into it and blood, sweat, and tears because I want to see the school be successful, because I want my kids to be able to have that Christian-based, teaching.
And I know how much it means to you. Like I said, it's for the kids. Kaysen and Holland have been there since the Learning Center went full time. When it became a full time learning center in the fall of 2015, they've been there since they were. Holland was almost 2, Kaysen was 3, and they've been there ever since and love it. Absolutely love it, and I can't imagine them going anywhere else. And if I have anything to do about it, and like it's. You can't always give, I can't always give financially because our business goes up and down too. We do. We both give financially too, in addition to, you could give more a lot of times financially, but you can, you give what you've got to give, and you've got a knack for organizing the auction and the time and the to do it. And serving on the school board, and I appreciate you with it. I'm glad we've got folks like you and all the other members of the board. I think it makes the school a great place. Like I said, my kids love it, my grandkids love it. They don't want to go anywhere else, and so I'm committed at least till they're done to doing everything I can to make sure it's the best school that they could possibly have. So,
no, I agree.
And the auction is a big part of that. So again, shameless plug. Last weekend of March, Saturday, we'll have the auction out at Rock Springs Christian Academy, and come out and get you some good deals and have some fun and support
lots of food trucks and jumpy houses.
A lot of food
and
trucks and
that.
Jumpy houses. Yeah,
Casey helped coordinate all of that, and that was a huge help.
Yeah. It's it is a big day, and we go out. We're usually out there all day.
Yeah.
So. But thank you for doing that, and thanks again for helping us, make our home what it is.
Yep.
Everybody who's come through, who's seen it, has just has had rave reviews. We worked hard to try to make it fresh and new for us to work and make it functional, but not take away that character
that character and historic value
from the old part of it and the historic part of it, and y'all did a masterful job of that, so thank you. And thank you for joining me, and maybe we'll come back. We'll do another project here before long. Probably we got a couple other things we're gonna do, so maybe we'll have some more to talk about. But we'll make sure to put your information up on here too, and if anybody needs any renovations, they can reach out to us. We'll put their contact information here on the screen for you. I will give my highest 10 out of 10 recommendation for all American Renovations if y'all need any renovations work done. So thank y'all for watching, and look forward to seeing you next time.